Marcus sat in a corner booth of a dimly lit espresso bar 3 blocks away from the steel and glass headquarters of Vanguard Tech. Across from him sat Sarah, the director of people operations. She wasn't wearing her corporate blazer. She had her sleeves rolled up. She looked like a friend. She looked like a sanctuary. She leaned in, lowered her voice, and said the 4 most dangerous words in the English language. "This is off the record." Marcus exhaled, a breath he'd been holding for 6 months. He believed her. He believed that the steam from their latest acted as a barrier against the cold reality of the company's interests. He opened his mouth and let the truth spill out like blood from a fresh wound. 10 minutes later, the meeting ended with a warm hug. Marcus walked back to the office feeling lighter. He did not realize he had just handed Sarah the rope she would use to hang his career before lunch the next Monday. In the world of professional recruitment, we see a specific type of victim, the optimist. Marcus was a 10-year veteran. He was a senior architect. He was part of the old guard at Vanguard Tech. He had survived 3 rounds of layoffs and 4 product pivots. He thought his history earned him a seat at the table of trust. Sarah wasn't just HR. She was the cool HR. She brought donuts on Fridays. She remembered everyone's birthdays. She was the person you went to when the bureaucracy felt like it was crushing your soul. To Marcus, Sarah was a peer. They had shared drinks at happy hours. They had discussed their kids' schools. He viewed her as a human being first and a corporate function second. This is the horizon illusion. Employees believe that because HR is made of people, HR acts with humanity. But HR is not a social service. It is a defensive organ of the corporation. Its primary function is the mitigation of risk. And on that Friday afternoon, Marcus did not see a risk manager. He saw a friend. He felt safe in the silence of that coffee shop. He thought the off-the-record promise was a contract. It was actually a lure. The conversation was supposed to be a check-in. Sarah asked how was he handling the new CEO's aggressive return to office mandate. Marcus was frustrated. He was tired of the 3-hour commute. He was tired of the lack of vision from the top. He leaned across the table. The mistake was total. He told Sarah that he was mentally checked out. He admitted that he had been taking calls from headhunters at 2 major competitors. He even confessed that he had shared a few concerns about the company's new roadmap with a recruiter at a Tier 1 firm. He thought he was being transparent. He thought Sarah would use this information to advocate for him, to tell the CEO they were at risk of losing their best architect. Sarah nodded. She took no notes. She stayed perfectly in character. She looked concerned. She looked empathic. She told him, "I hear you, Marcus. Your secret is safe with me." As they walked out, Marcus felt a sense of loyalty to her. He had no idea that as soon as the door closed behind him, Sarah's off-the-record mode shut down. The second she stepped back onto corporate property, she wasn't a friend. She was a witness for the prosecution. Monday morning was a ghost story. Marcus arrived at 8:30 a.m. His badge worked, but his Slack was strangely quiet. At 9 a.m. he received a calendar invite for a quick sync in conference room B. The participants, Sarah and the head of legal. The room was ice cold. Sarah wasn't wearing her rolled up sleeves today. She was back in the blazer. She didn't look at him. She looked at a legal pad. On it was a chronological reconstruction of their off-the-record chat. Every word Marcus had whispered in confidence was now typed, bulleted, and categorized under breach of fiduciary duty and intent to depart with proprietary insights. Marcus tried to remind her of their friendship. He mentioned the coffee. He mentioned the promise. Sarah finally looked at him. Her eyes were as flat as a dead screen. "Marcus," she said, "I am an officer of this company. There is no such thing as off the record when it involves a threat to our competitive advantage." The sensory details were a blur of trauma. The sound of the security guard's boots in the hallway, the sight of his personal files being wiped from the server while he sat in the chair, the feeling of his Vanguard legend status evaporating into the category of disgruntled employee. He wasn't just being fired, he was being eradicated. The verdict was an execution without a trial. Marcus was terminated, gross misconduct. The firm argued that his admission of speaking to recruiters about the roadmap constituted a leak of trade secrets. They didn't just walk him out, they blocked his severance. They triggered a non-compete clause that effectively barred him from working in the industry for 12 months. They used his own honesty as the evidence of bankrupt him. Because he had confessed to being checked out, they denied his unemployment claim, citing a voluntary abandonment of duties. Sarah, the woman who had hugged him 3 days prior, signed the affidavit. Marcus spent $40,000 on a lawyer just to get his personal photos back from his laptop. He found himself blacklisted from the Tier 1 firms he'd been talking to. Why? Because the industry is small, and the word was out. Marcus is a leaker. The man who spent 10 years building the company was destroyed by the person who trusted to protect him. He learned the hard way that in corporate law, silence is golden, but trust is lead. Why did Marcus fail? The autopsy shows a fatal case of institutional naivety. Marcus forgot the fundamental law of the jungle. The lion does not play with the zebra. HR's job is to protect the company from the employees. If you tell HR you are looking for another job, you aren't an employee anymore. You are a leak asset. Sarah didn't betray him because she was evil. She betrayed him because she was compliant. Her loyalty to the payrolls that signed her checks would always outweigh her loyalty to a guy she grabbed coffee with once a month. To her, Marcus was a data point that had gone rat. She did her job perfectly. The psychology of the off-the-record trap is designed to exploit the human need for venting. Companies know that employees are under stress. They provide cool HR people to act as lightning rods. They want you to talk. They want you to reveal your hand, because a hand revealed is a hand that can be folded. The autopsy report is clear. The cause of death was confession. Marcus thought he was talking to a friend. He was actually talking to a recording device with a human face. The off-the-record myth is the most successful social engineering tool in the corporate world. It turns your own vulnerability into a weapon for your termination. The lesson? If you need to vent, talk to a therapist. Talk to your spouse. Talk to your bartender. But never, under any circumstances, talk to HR, because the second you open your mouth, the record starts spinning, and it never stops until you're gone.